Now to the latest out of Capitol Hill as the Supreme Court issued several major rulings today. The decisions handing the Trump administration both wins and some losses.
Our Conan Nolan joining us live now in the newsroom to break down today's decisions. Conan.
That's right. Well, as you pointed out, President Trump and the White House did not get everything they wanted in today's high court decisions, but they did get one ruling conservative think tanks have been advocating for better part of a century. And as a result, the president today has more power than he had yesterday. It was perhaps the most surprising decision by the High Court, the one impacting mail-in balloting. By a 5-4 decision, the justices said it was all right for states to count ballots that arrived to the registrar's office days after the election, so long as they were postmarked on or before Election Day itself. The ruling protects California's vote-by-mail law and is a blow to the president's effort to eliminate mail-in balloting, which he contends, without evidence, is rife with fraud.
I think it was very detrimental to honest elections, but it is what it is.
But the court sided with allowances in counting mail-in ballots that have been approved by Congress and the states, both of which have power over elections, whereas the executive branch does not. Nate Persley is with Stanford Law School.
This is left up to the states, and there's nothing in federal law that would prevent a state from accepting ballots that are received after the deadline, whether it's in Mississippi or whether it's in California.
Governor Gavin Newsom called the decision a win, adding, quote, "The fight isn't over. We should be making it easier to vote, not harder." The administration also lost in its effort to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook for alleged mortgage fraud, which she denies. Chief Justice John Roberts, concerned about political interference with the Fed, wrote that allowing Trump to fire Cook would in effect transform the Federal Reserve's foreclause protection into an at-will employment. But perhaps the most consequential decision went the way of the White House. The justices said the president can fire at will any member of a so-called independent governmental agency. The case involves Rebecca Slaughter, let go from the Federal Trade Commission without cause.
But it bestows additional powers, or maybe the same power, on the president. The president has the right to do this.
The court today overturning 90 years of legal precedent, which had limited the president's power to fire FTC members. Jason Whitehead is director of the Legal Studies program at Cal State Northridge.
If a president wants to, he can simply decapitate all of the federal agencies upon arriving into office, and there is then no continuity between one administration and another. It's a huge victory for the conservative movement that they've long sought and just finally received.
The plaintiff in that case, Rebecca Slaughter, says the decision today will ensure that only the president's like-minded allies will be part of agencies that deal everything from consumer protection to regulation of television. We'll have more from her at 6. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
And Conan, looking at tomorrow, we know we're expecting even more big decisions from the court.
Yeah, last day of the decisions. 2 relate to trans rights from Idaho and West Virginia. They have laws that ban trans women from participating in girls' sports, whether that's constitutional. Another is a challenge of political finance committees, that is private financing of campaigns, I should say, a challenge to the Federal Elections Commission. But the big one is birthright citizenship. The High Court expecting to decide whether or not that remains. It's been part of the Constitution, and it's been upheld by previous courts for the past 2 centuries. Back to you.
Yeah, the whole country watching that very closely. Our Conan Nolan, thank you.